I'm Kevin Quinn. I'm a professor of law, and I believe I'll be teaching election law in the spring semester. I'm very excited to be here. About 25 or so years ago, so it was 1999, Andrew Martin and I were working on some projects measuring preferences of various kinds of political actors. And we started looking back to some US Supreme Court literature going back to the 40s and 50s and realized that some of the things that we were doing that were maybe originally more geared towards Congress or things like that could be applied to the court as well. And that's sort of the basic version of where Martin Quinn's course came from. A lot of folks think that statistics and law probably couldn't be further apart. But in actuality, there are a lot of ways that law and statistics or law and social science relate to each other. You know, there are tons of policy debates that are informed by empirical social science, right? So how do different rules governing elections affect voter turnout, for instance? You know, somewhere in the middle, there are a lot of situations in litigation where expert witnesses play a key role. One of the interesting things is how a litigator is going to interact with someone who doesn't have a legal background, perhaps, but is coming from a social science or epidemiology background, something like that. Discovery is no longer about digging through bankers' boxes full of papers. It's using machine learning and natural language processing methods to cull the vast amount of emails or other electronic documents that might be relevant for litigation. A lot of folks tend to think that, you know, research and teaching at the university level are two totally different things. You know, in my experience, that's just not the case very often. You know, and the thing is that oftentimes what makes someone a good researcher is also the same kind of thing that makes them a good teacher. In the classes that I teach, even when I'm teaching a class that's not really directly related to what I'm doing research in at a particular moment, you know, I really try to think about how can I instill some of that excitement that you might have as if you were a researcher in that field for the students, and so they can get sort of excited about the subject matter as well.